أشرقت نفسي بنور من فؤادي حينما رددت يا رب العباد.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. My name is Osman Abdulrasheed, and welcome back to another episode of our conversation that we've been having. Now, if you remember, we started talking about what are the building blocks that you need in your business. We talked about the first thing being customer segment. I'm sure that was very insightful, and you're able to begin to see what type of products you should create for the different types of markets. We jumped into the value proposition, and the value proposition is simply, why should anybody buy from you? Today, we're going to be talking about something very interesting, which is, so now you understand who your ideal customer is, you understand why they should buy from you. The next thing that you must think about in trying to grow your business is to think about what channels are you going to use to reach out to these customers. You see, because every customer has a different method that you can reach out to them. Now, two things that you want to be clear about is this. One, we have online channels. Two, we have offline channels. Now, I've seen a lot of business owners in my experience where some of them have like a physical store, and the only channel that they're thinking about is the offline channel, the physical channel, whereby they want people to come into their store. But the honest truth is that the world that we live in right now is it has become like a global village. The internet has come to change the entire thing. And I think that COVID-19 even made everything escalate even further, because now a lot of people would rather just sit down in their house than to go to a restaurant. And we've seen the growth of deliveries, home deliveries, logistic companies, and all those kind of other businesses. So I think that, for you, if you have a brick and mortar, which is like a physical store, you want to leverage on online channels as well. And then for the people that have online channels as well, you might want to think about, okay, not just meeting people online alone. Sometimes you might have to meet people physically. But let's talk about channels. What are the different types of channels that you can use to reach out to your clients? And most importantly, not only knowing the channels, but also thinking about when you reach out, when you go to a particular channel, right? What are the things that you need to do? And there are three key steps that you must take. The first step, when you know who your ideal client is to go to where they are. The type of the client you want to serve will determine which channel you choose. I'll give you an example. If your business is catered to working class people, whereby you're trying to see how you can serve the working class people, you want to meet them, you want to go to a channel where there are a lot of working class people. For example, LinkedIn is a perfect channel for working class people, because everybody there, one, has a job, two, is either looking for another job, and they're all having that conversation. But in trying to determine where you should go, you must think about what conversations are happening on that channel. Now, for sometimes you might be thinking about working class people, but LinkedIn might not be the channel for you. Why? Because maybe the thing that the product or service that you're delivering is not tied to their work. Maybe it's tied to leisure. So where do you want to go? You want to go where they are having leisurely conversations. So think about it. You're trying to sell maybe spa, for example. You have a spa, or you have a barbing salon, or you have maybe like cake, and you go to LinkedIn and you're selling. You might not have a good product market fit. Why? Because the people that are in LinkedIn, their mind is not in the conversation for cake. Their mind is in conversation for tools and techniques for them to be able to grow their working career. So that's why where you decide to go and market yourself, where you decide to go and sell your market, is very important. The second thing that you must take note of is that you have to use a bait. Now, let me give you an analogy. Imagine if you go to fish, for example, right? When you go to fish, what do you usually do? Typically, you would put the hook, you put like a worm or a small fish or crayfish or something on the hook, and then you put that hook inside the water. That will attract fish to the hook. And then what happens? The fish bites on it, and then you reel it in and you're able to catch your fish. But guess what? That's one way to do it, which is if you're trying to do one-on-one. But then there are other ways that you can do it. Think about the people that fish on an industrial scale. Do they use that hook methodology? No. They will go there, they go to where the fish are, they carry a net, they cast it, and then they grab as many fish as they can. So that's another thing. But Why is it important? Because you must have a bait. You must have something that draws the customers to you. And typically, one of the things that I've always said business owners to use is when you're talking about a bait. Remember in the first episode, we talked about why it's important to know your ideal customer. It's because you want to know their pain and the benefit that they are looking for. So you must create a bait that solves at least one of the pain. So let me give you an example. Say you are in real estate and you want to sell a house. Now, a typical bait you can use is to say, maybe for example, you say 10 things that you must know so that you don't enter one chance when you're trying to buy your next house. And then you talk about things like C of O, especially for example, like in Abuja now, if you're based in Abuja, one of the biggest issues that people have is the C of O between AMAC and then, other C of Os, that kind of thing, right? So imagine if you're able to educate people with that, and that's a bait. Why that is important is because the only people that will be interested in that bait are people that are in the frame of mind of buying a house. Somebody that doesn't really care about buying a house, that either already owns a house or knows that they are just starting out their career, house is the last thing on their mind, they will not fall for that bait. So what you want is you want to be able to solve a problem that will help you identify who is the ideal client, right? So once you do that bit, the next thing that you want to do is to now show proof of delivery. So proof of delivery can simply mean why, when you go to a channel, why should people buy from you? You see, as human beings, we are social creatures, right? So we will do what someone else is doing. So you want to be able to show proof of, somebody has bought from you, you've delivered somebody, or you want to show proof of your expertise. Why should anybody buy from you is also as a result of your expertise. So if you educate people on the things that are surrounding your industry, the more you educate people, the more you sound the more you sound like an authority. Think about it. Imagine if you go to see a doctor and you see a doctor that just looks maybe like they just finished university and they're not really sure about themselves, and the doctor says he wants to perform surgery on you, versus you go to a doctor and this doctor says he has 20 years experience as a surgeon. You see all his certificates at the back. Why do you think doctors put their certificates at the back? It's not just because they don't have paint to paint the back of their office. It's because they want you, when you come in to the office, they want you to feel like, yes, they have authority. They want you to feel like, yes, they are in control. So that's one of the things that you want to do. You want to be able to put out as much content, blog posts, different kind of things, right? So when you think about these three things, now let's jump into the channels proper. I'll just give you a few examples of channels. One of the channels that is very popular and is really gaining ground is Instagram. Most people, at least there are people most people are on Instagram. You even find people with 2, 3, 4, 5 accounts on Instagram. So because everybody's online, as a business owner, you must have a strategy to go online. You must have a strategy to go into Instagram. And I'll tell you one of the strategies that you can use is you have to think about what type of traffic you want to pull. And there are two types of traffic. There is the traffic that you pull organically, right, which is with your content and your posts. But then there's also traffic that you pay for, which is why a lot of people talk about paid ads and all that. Those are the two forms of traffic. Traffic that you're pulling organically is traffic that you create content to help people so that they find your page interesting and then they decide to follow you and eventually they decide to buy from you. There are three things that people are looking for on any social platform. One, they want to be educated. People go to social media platforms to gain education. There are a lot of classes out there. There are a lot of people teaching different kind of skills. So find out how you can educate people within your industry. The second thing that people are looking for is entertainment. People want to be entertained. Why do you think that all these people that do skits have become very popular? All of a sudden, we see a lot of comedians that are doing skits coming up and they are being paid heavy sums of money. Why? Because a lot of people are looking for entertainment, right? The third thing is information. So people go on social media to find out information. What's happening with this event? What's happening there? What's happening there? What you can now do is when you're creating your content, think about these three key areas and think about how you can create content to inform people, to educate them, and to entertain them. Understanding the different kind of pains that they have, right? The more you create that kind of content, the more people will share your content if they find it valuable. Let me give you an example. Have you ever, and I'm sure this happened to you this week, you received a video or a post from a friend of yours. The person just saw a post or saw a video and forwarded it to your DM. And then you saw it and it was either educational, inspirational, or entertaining. And you, oh, this is nice. There are times when somebody sends you something and you find that content so captivating that you go and check the person's bio, the person that created the content. You check their bio and you're like, oh, this person seems interesting. And then you follow them, right? So you want to inform people, you want to educate them, and you want to entertain them, right? And so that's one strategy that you can use. Another strategy that is very important is understanding that people buy from people that they know, they like, and they trust. And what does this mean? People need to know what you do, right? You have to be able to talk about the products and services that you offer using, if you remember what I talked about in the last episode, using the benefits and the features analogy, right? So talk about the benefits of your brand, talk about the benefits of why people should buy from you. Now, that makes them to know you. But what makes people to like you? People like people that they have things in common with. So one of the things you want to do as a business owner is to put out content that are unique to you. So for example, who is your favorite football team? What kind of movies do you like to watch? What kind of videos, what kind of books do you like to read? If you put out that kind of content, what will happen is anybody that likes that kind of content will be drawn towards your content, and before you know anything, they will, they'll start following you. And then people buy from people. Remember I said people that they know, people that they like, and people that they trust. So the last one, trust. How do you build trust on social media? One of the ways that you can build trust on social media is by posting testimonials. So let's say somebody has bought cake from you and the person sends you a message and says, oh, your cake is so lovely. You screenshot it. Now, one of the things I want you to be very cautious about is when you make those kind of screen munch, make sure you protect the privacy of the person. Don't go and post the person's number or don't go and post the person's name. Find a way to either cut it or use something to cover the name or the number, right? Because they might not want their name or their number out there. So you post it as a testimonial, as social proof, and people will see it and be like, oh, okay, if somebody can patronize this person, then maybe I think that this is someone that I should consider patronizing. Another thing that you can do to increase your authority is to put out content about your industry. So let's say, for example, you're a baker. What type of content do other bakers need to know? Put it out there. You might think that, oh, you're helping your competition. It doesn't matter. What it will do for you is that they will say, okay, this person is advising bakers. And that means this person is very good at what they do. So the more those kind of content you put out, the more people will see you as an authority. And then also you can put out content that helps people to use your product. So say, for example, you sell shoes. Why do you think that the people that advertise shoes, they never advertise the shoes just standing there? No, they'll show somebody walking in the shoes or running in the shoes so that you see the utility of that product or service, how people are using it. And once you're able to do that, you'll see how amazing growth you have, right? Other channels that you can leverage on. So we've talked about Instagram. Another channel you can leverage on is Facebook. There are millions of users on Facebook daily, right? What are you doing to capture that market, right? So apart from Facebook, what other channel can you use? YouTube is actually another channel. Do you know that YouTube is the second search engine after Google? And guess who owns YouTube? It's Google. So one of the things that when you're trying to learn something, where do you go to learn? Most times you find yourself searching on YouTube. How do I do this? How do I do that? So you can put those kind of how-to videos and then put a link that people can buy your product at the end of watching those videos, right? So YouTube is actually another very amazing channel that I think people should leverage on. WhatsApp. Your WhatsApp is there, right? You have people that already know you and like you. You have their number. They are your friends, they are your family. How are you leveraging your WhatsApp to make sales? Something very simple that you can do is to post your product or your service on your WhatsApp stories. I've seen business owners that say, oh no, I don't like to post, maturity. Who maturity help, right? A closed mouth will never get fed. You have to be able to post content and put out things that will grab, customers to you. So post on your WhatsApp status, create broadcast groups. And when I say create broadcast, broadcast groups, don't just go and be just bombarding people with unnecessary messages. Make sure that whatever message that you're sending is tailor-made and is of good value to that person, so that eventually when they are used to seeing messages from you and they see that it's value, then they will eventually buy from you. One tip that I think you should use is to use, so there's an author, Gary Vaynerchuk. He talks about, he wrote a book, right? Jab, 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 hook. It's a boxing terminology. So if you're conversant with boxing, typically what they do is that in boxing there's the jab and then there's the hook. The hook is a more powerful punch, but most times you use the jab to confuse your opponent. So what you do as a business owner is don't just go and sell to the person. So the first time you get somebody's number, hey, come and buy Atampa from me. No, don't do that. Start with the jab. The jab is give them information. For example, let's say if you sell materials, you can say, oh, three steps to keep your materials without fading. How do you take care of your material? How do you maintain your material without fading? Anybody that uses any kind of materials wants to know how to take care of their materials without fading. So you put out that content first. The second one is, how do you iron so that it's crispy? You give them that content. The third one, whatever content you want. Then you use the hook, which is after 3 posts that are educational, informative, or entertaining. Then you can now put out content that asks for the sale, right? So your WhatsApp status, broadcast list, that's another amazing tool that you can also use. And then lastly, LinkedIn, like I said, if you're into the corporate kind of market, that is a channel that you want to also leverage on. Now, guess what? Content creation is hard, and that's one of the issues that a lot of business owners face. But I'll tell you, easily, one of the things that you can do to create content is to batch create the content. So sit down on a Saturday or on a Sunday, think about the different kind of channels you want to reach out, and then just take like an hour or two to come up with that content. Because why it's hard for you to come up with content is because you want to come up with content on the spot. And at that time, maybe your brain is tired. So on a Saturday, early morning, you wake up, once you perform your salah, you just sit down and think about the content you want to post for a week. Batch it, create it, and then you can start posting it as you go, right? So I hope that this conversation around channels has helped you to think deeply into the different kind of channels that you can use. There are more channels out there. Keep an open mind, but this is just to sort of like introduce you to the concept of channels so that you can see what is out there. And I hope you're enjoying our series, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. My name is Osman Abdulrasheed. Goodbye for now. Assalamu alaikum.
Ramadan Mubarak.